You need somebody, no matter what size your event is or where it's at, like someone who's going to come and negotiate the best rates for you, who's going to understand contracts like back and front, who's going to be able to not only handle like the logistical problems and the things you have to plan, but also who can on-site like do everything that you need to do and push it out effortlessly and like not make it look hard.
Alejandra, what's up?
Hey, Rick, what's going on?
Nothing much. How are you?
Hanging out.
First time on the podcast.
I know. I'm so excited. Thank you.
I know. You don't have any problem like talking and being fun and exciting, so I figured this would be a natural fit for you.
Certified yapper. What can I say?
That was on your resume? I didn't see your resume, but
oh yeah, it was pink and it just said yapper at the top.
I know.
So
Chamberlain hired you. She claims all she claims all of your successes because of her.
No, but I'll let her have it.
Thank you. Yeah, well, exactly. Just let her have it. It's just better that way. All right, first time on, but I did give you a heads up. Did you bring a dad joke?
I did bring a dad joke.
Okay, what you got?
What do you call a reluctant potato?
A reluctant potato? Mm-hmm. I'm already laughing. What?
A hesitator.
Nice. You could probably hear the high five. All right, mine's not really nice, but it's kind of funny. So, Breaking news. A man was admitted to the hospital today with 25 plastic toy horses inserted into his rectum. Doctors have described his condition as stable. See? Not bad. Not bad.
That's so bad. That's good.
It's probably happened. We used to have a radiologist used to work out here, and he was like, you wouldn't believe the people coming in their golf outfits on the weekend and their Lexus, and it's like, okay, let's see if we can remove this. I'm like, oh, don't tell me if it's somebody I know. I don't want to know. But since people don't know you, some people know you. If you've come to training in the last few months, how long have you been here?
6-7 months by now.
So anyway, last 6 or 7 months, you've probably met Alejandra, but tell everyone what it is that you do.
Yeah, so I am the official office and events coordinator. So I basically do everything like office, operations internally. So,
So you run the corporate office?
Yeah, exactly. Washing machine needs to be fixed or anything else like that. I do all that as well as like ordering ink for the printer, all that good stuff. And then I also do on the event side, planning conference. Yay.
That's no big deal.
No big deal,
it's just an annual conference. What's the big deal?
Exactly. As well as like, organizing everything for Discovery Day and for a training week that we have.
That's right. I forgot about D-Day too. Mm-hmm. So conference is the big one, right? Mm-hmm. But then we have Discovery Day, which is, a dinner out and then meal here the next day.
Correct.
Coffee, all the other things, right?
Yes.
And then we have training week, which is a whole week, and that's coordinating lunches for every day in addition to all the other things.
All the other things, coffee, tea.
AV, everything, right?
Everything. Yeah.
That's awesome. So that's a lot on your plate. And by the way, you do a great job.
Oh, thank you so much.
We do, for those of you guys that don't know our culture, we always do props at our meetings. And we have a separate leadership meeting. And if we'll talk about like, cascading messages or just messages from people on the team, highlights, and like you always get a ton of props. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I work hard.
You deserve it. So, okay. So that's what you do. What's your background? Like, how did you get, like, what got you into event planning? Like, tell me.
Yeah.
Tell.
I got you. So I actually graduated from college in 2020 from the University of New Mexico. And just kind of from there, I've always just fell into events, whether it's, planning things with my sorority or just helping with like birthday parties and whatever. And I didn't really know what to do because, it was the pandemic and everything had shut down, which was
so wild, isn't it? Think about it now. That
was wild. And I tell everybody, like, we went for a week of spring break and they were like, well, now it's going to be 2 weeks. And now they were like, okay, leave. Like, we're closing everything down. And that was weird time, especially being that far away because my parents and all my family are here. So it was scary.
You go? Where were you?
So I was in New Mexico, which is like
But where'd you go for spring break? Oh, you went to a different place in New Mexico.
We didn't even get to come home. Like, it just like, we were like, well, what do we do? Like, we were planning to go to California.
I thought you said you were out like on a vacation and you couldn't come home. Got it.
Everything was like canceled because we were supposed to go to Disneyland in California. And that was like my senior trip with everybody. And it just like fell apart so fast because everybody started getting sick.
They basically said, just go home.
Yeah. They were like, just go home. And my mom was like, we're packing up a U-Haul. Like, we're leaving right now. We're going. So there was no option to go anywhere.
Right.
But it was just weird because like hotels and everything was closed. And we were like, what do we do? Like, terrifying. So, we went from that, and then I had an uncle at the time who worked at JanPro, which they also do franchising, but like for cleaning companies.
Mm-hmm.
And
they're big.
They're huge.
They're like 30 years
huge.
they've been around? How long
30 years? Yeah.
How many franchisees do you remember?
It's probably grown since then. Well over 500. And that's just like, they were an umbrella company. So that was just their like cleaning. They also had like fencing and like other types.
There's a lot of companies like that now. Like I'm sitting on the panel this week with a couple of franchise founders, and one of them is a guy I really respect. He has horsepower brands.
Oh, okay, cool.
But they have just all home service brands. But they buy the companies and put them under their umbrella. So they've got like 7 or 8 brands, I think, maybe
that's
more.
That's how Jam Pro was too.
Okay,
so
cool.
we were an umbrella.
So they were under someone's bigger umbrella.
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah. So they were huge, and they've been around for 30 years. So everybody knew each other. But yeah, it was great. That was my kind of entry level. I was there like event planner, doing some marketing on the side. And then from there, I kind of went into some more like nonprofits, but I also planned events that were like happening all over the world. So I was up at like all hours. It was so fun. I loved it. And then, kind of landed here. What
do you think it takes to be an event planner? I mean, obviously you have to be organized, right?
You have to be organized. You have to pay very close attention to detail. I always tell people that if you plan something and you don't plan out all the details, you will miss something. And a little thing could be a huge thing like later on, like a bigger problem. So definitely organize, keep all of your notes together, and just, I guess, communicate is the best way too. You have to communicate with your team, with your vendors, with everybody, make sure everybody's on the same page.
So I think it's obvious, but like if somebody's listening and they're thinking about putting on an event, like why do they need an event planner? Why can't they just put it together themselves?
You need someone. You need someone.
Just gonna laugh. Good luck.
Like, good luck. Yeah, no, seriously. Like you need somebody, no matter what size your event is or where it's at, like someone who's going to come and negotiate the best rates for you, who's going to understand contracts like back and front, who's going to be able to not only handle like the logistical problems and the things you have to plan, but also who can on-site like do everything that you need to do and push it out effortlessly and like not make it look hard. So I think, having someone that understands the events industry and everything that comes with these large scale events, you're better off for it.
Why do you like it?
Oh, I love it. I've always been a planner, like plan A friend, someone who's like, let's plan out every single minute of our day. And they're like, you're insane. So
if you're on a vacation, you have every minute planned.
Yeah. I'm that person that comes with like an agenda and a map. And I'm like, this is what we're doing. And we're not staying away from this.
Safari hat and like zip off pants.
Literally.
Like you're ready to roll.
Literally. A lot of events people are also Disney people. I'm very much a Disney person. And we love it because you just plan out your whole day and your whole vacation. And I just have always been that kind of person. I'm like, let's plan every single thing like to a T, like with detail. And I'm also like very creative in that aspect. So
right.
I love doing any type of like Canva, like creation or like balloon arch, you name it, I'll probably do it.
That's cool. I don't know. Well, just having experience working with you on next year's conference, which we're already planning, and we'll talk about this in a minute. You do come up with some really cool ideas,
Thank you.
It's like, I love it because it's hard. Like I also have weird ideas, and so like I love when you have weird ideas. I'm like, oh, and then we could do this, and like between you and I, but like obviously we have to stay in budget, otherwise it would be ridiculous,
Yeah.
I know. I would love to do that. At some point we'll go hog wild, but I think our conference this year is going to be nuts already, right?
It's going to be so much fun. There's so many good things already planned, and I can't wait for everybody to see it.
Same. So what's like what goes into planning a conference? Like just give us kind of the scaffolding, if you will. You don't have to give us all the details, but
okay, good. I was about to say, how much time do you have?
It's a 3-hour podcast. Go for it. And you're like, and then next, and we're like,
yeah. So I'm like, let me go through every single detail. So I would say first is like figure out where your location is going to be. I think that's like the most important part.
Now, do you like? Obviously, we considered like flying into an area. Is it easy to get in? Right? Is it centrally located? I mean, obviously, with our franchise, we have like some franchises are more regionally based, but ours is all over. So we're going to move it around periodically to kind of move it to more convenient areas. So we can go West Coast, middle of the country, back to the East Coast, kind of moving around. Obviously, the first one's here this year.
Yeah.
But what all goes into it? Because I know you're planning next year's already. We already approved some of the things that you've already secured. But how do you, like, what are the main things that you need to nail?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think just like location to the airport, I think is really important because if you are too far out, you're going to think that's like 2 hours round trip for people, especially people who like to get to the airport early. You have to think about location for that. Also, like if you're somewhere really exotic and really cool if there's things that are, around there that maybe some people would be into, maybe not, you also kind of want to keep people like closer to your vicinity. And, Hotel Avalon, I think, does a perfect example of this.
So you don't want to have everybody spread out all over the place, what you're saying.
Because you don't want someone to be somewhere exciting and fun and they're all over there and you're like, wait, guys, we have our general sessions happening. Like everybody should be in session. So I think kind of finding that good balance of like close to an airport, but not too far away, as well as having some things you can mix in would be super great.
And then, you are doing everything. Like you flew out to our next host city.
I did.
Met with the planners, negotiated room rates. Because we're really doing this on behalf of franchisees, right? We're trying to negotiate the lowest possible room rate. I know Hotel Avalon is really, really nice. And it's a little bit more expensive. And I think you did even better on next year's. But there's that, right? So it's also leveraging like the volume that you bring to negotiate. Like the big costs are, I think, hotel, right? And we have to guarantee a certain amount of rooms. Granted, that's paid by the guests, or the franchisees. Food is expensive, right? And there's like minimals on that, right?
Yeah. Well, you also got to think too, with inflation, everything has just gone up.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
I feel like a bowl guy when I'm like, dude, that's so expensive. But like, it is more expensive, right?
It is more expensive. Even like, I think the bigger like events I planned at Jan Pro, I compare them to kind of what I remember then in 2021 to now. And I'm like, that has gone way up.
Yeah.
Also too, like, the hotel's also a business. They also want to make sure that they get their money as well. So we understand it and you just got to plan for it.
Yeah, no, I agree. Food is a big one. AV is always crazy because you kind of got to work within the confines of that. That's expensive.
Yeah.
So just to give you guys an idea, like this year, by the time we do like rooms, AV, presenters, like the whole thing, I think our budget's like $450K, something like that, right?
Yeah, about that.
We'll probably be better than that next year just based on some of the cool negotiations that you've worked on.
Oh, yeah.
But this year's going to be top notch for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So, okay, so all this stuff goes into planning it. What you experienced at Jan Pro, and I can speak of some of my experience. Why do you think it's important to come to a conference?
Oh, I love this question. So I was in a system that has been around for a while and people have been there since day one, which is so cool to think about. But a lot of these people love coming just to catch up with, other franchisees. And at this point, they've been in each other's lives and in their families' lives forever. So they come and it's like just one big family reunion. And it's not only a chance to get to see people that you've already met or who you're very close with, but also, meet new people who are in the system and kind of find mentors and all that good stuff. So I really love getting to see everybody and they're like, oh, this person was in this person's wedding or I went to their kid's graduation. It's just such a great thing to see. Yeah.
And I think that's, we talk about that even in the process of awarding someone a franchise, like the strength of it is, yes, us as your franchise partners, but more importantly, I think, or as important at least, are the other franchisees. And I've also participated in conferences for mature franchises that have lots of locations. And there'd be 3,000 or 4,000 people there, and they can't wait to come back every year. They bring like their whole team because they're like meeting up with somebody else and their team. And it's like you make friends and you make all these great connections and just people that are, again, to your point, become lifelong friends, some of them. At least if nothing else, there's value in sharing ideas and struggles and all the things that come along with owning a small business too. So I love that culturally. And for ours this year, if you guys want to come out, we are having a tattoo artist come out and do free tattoos. So reach out to Alejandra. And if you get it on your neck, I will cover the cost. Well, I'm covering the cost anyway. It's free, right? Hey, I'll pay for it. How about that? You're like, you're already paying for it. Yeah, but don't tell them that. You got to have it on your neck.
Bonus points if you get it on your forehead.
Yeah. Or like the teardrop, like the little prison teardrop.
Yeah, like that.
A couple of alloy logos coming out of your eye. Like so many clients that's terrible.
Oh my God.
This is how many people have dropped. All right, I take that back. Terrible to say. Well, you're doing a great job here, obviously. And everything from it, like, here's how you know you're doing a good job. I don't even know that it's happening, right? It's seamless. Like lunch is always here. It's always on time. It's always well laid out. D-Day, there's never been a hiccup or anything. And I know there can be, even not to your fault. Sometimes the vendors that we're working with, or restaurants or whatever, but it just hasn't happened, which is awesome. So if things work out perfectly with you and Alloy, where would you like to be in 5 years?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Thanks.
I think I really love events. That's just my go-to. I would like to be a senior event manager or anything else like that, especially, as we grow at the rate that we are growing right now. These conferences are going to get huge very quickly. I was lucky enough to be able to come in here and our outside event planners did a pretty good job, setting us up. But I'm going to need like years to plan for some of these big events.
Right.
When I was at Jam Pro, we would book out 5 years in advance.
God, that's crazy.
That's
Well, that's
big.
why I was, you were talking to me about 2027. And I'm like, why are we talking about 2027? You're like, because we need to start booking things. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay.
Right.
So, but I love it. I mean, it's again, I don't have any experience planning conferences. So I'm like, why are we talking about that? We'll do that in 2026. You're like, it doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't work that way. Especially if you have like well over 1,000 people, you need to think like how many rooms that this is going to hold, how like ballroom spaces you're going to need, just kind of already those logistical
I mean, that'll be
things.
the bulk of your yearly. Yeah. And, also we have on the radar to do maybe some regional events.
I would love that.
Yeah, just like 4 different regional events a year, just educational sort of rolling roadshow regional events as well. Just a 1-day thing for everybody to get together in that region. So that's on the radar as well when we get big enough. But yeah. And then last bonus question.
Oh, hit me with it.
It's kind of cliche, but I do love the question. If you could have anybody over for dinner, dead or alive, who would it be?
Ooh, that's a great question. I don't know. Dead or alive? Okay. I got my answer. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm so ready.
Okay. I love Selena, like, the singer, Quintanilla. I love her. And I would just kind of ask her, like, how she was so successful with people, always constantly hating on her. And like,
did she get a lot of hate?
Yeah, she did. For like not speaking Spanish the way she was, even though she was taught Spanish, but wasn't like a natural born speaker. And like, just kind of the stuff that she went through. And she was such a great businesswoman as well, just kind of picking her brain on
So
some
like
of
the
that.
Latino or the community hated on her because I only know her as like this ultra popular singer, right?
Yeah, they did back then because they're like, you don't really speak Spanish. You kind of like learn it.
So they
And
were
I'm
like saying she's like a poser kind of.
Yeah, and exactly. And I'm like, I'm trying to learn Spanish too. I don't speak it. Sorry. But
So funny about
you make fun
So
of me for it.
for those, I do. I'm always like, hola. When I come in, I'm like, that's Spanish for hello. She's like, stop.
You like also say El Jefe, and I'm like, you spelled it wrong. Like,
Oh, I didn't spell it. Somebody made my name tag. I didn't make it. That's Chamberlain's fault.
oops, wrong. But that's okay.
Well, I think like, look, you have this great like dark complexion that I'm really jealous of, and your name is Alejandra Madrid, and so it is a little bit shocking that you don't speak Spanish. I'm kind of
Sorry,
disappointed.
I
But you
know.
did tell us that in your interview.
Yeah, I didn't
I think
like.
Suzanne always asks, like, she's like, I don't like surprises. Tell me something that's surprising. You're like, I don't speak Spanish. And we're like, oh, that's hilarious.
I remember that. I think that was my first time in HQ, and she's like, tell me something surprising. And I was like, yeah, I don't speak Spanish. A lot of people think I do. And like her and Chamberlain just like died laughing. And I'm like, oh, I got him. I'm good.
I'm so in. And it worked. You're in.
There you go. You're welcome.
Well, listen, I appreciate it.
Of course.
If you guys are planning a conference, unfortunately, you can't hire Alejandra. She's a stud, but you can't
Sorry.
hire her. But yeah, hire an event planner. It's worth it. And we're really happy to have you here. If you're listening to this and you're an Alloy franchisee, we can't wait to see you at conference. And just know that we're already putting next year together. It's going to be epic as well.
It's going to be so much fun, and can't wait to see you guys this year.
All right. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Peace.